Hello and welcome to TCB MLS. As you may have seen, we are kicking off the show at a new time of 10 PM to accommodate all the viewers in the USA. Plus, the later upload time will kind of fit in with the late night feel to the podcast. Of course, sit back, relax, and have a listen to this week's podcast, where I delve into weeks 2 to 4 in the MLS, discuss El Gino, whilst also previewing what could be the start of one of the biggest derbies in MLS history. Oh, and I've got to stop myself from buying a LAFC white jacket like Bob Bradley's, or a hat as well. So I'll kick off by saying the poll I ran to ask you to decide whether we should say football or soccer on the podcast ended in a draw with 6 votes in total, 3 to each. As a result, I will have to make a final decision, and my decision was not taken lightly, but I have decided to use the term soccer over football on the podcast. But please don't ridicule me if I say football by mistake every so often. So, last time we talked about the format of the MLS, as well as mentioning a bit about week 1 in the MLS. So this week we'll start by providing a week-to-week roundup of the MLS action that we've missed in the 3 weeks. Week 2 started with Atlanta United breaking the MLS attendance record, with 72,035 fans watching their 3-1 victory at the Mercedes-Benze Stadium against DC United, which brushed off any early season nerves after their shocking 4-0 loss away against Houston Dynamos. Elsewhere, 3 teams were playing their first games of the season. All were highly entertaining games. New York Red Bulls beat Giovanni Cervese's side 4-0 at home, which spelled a second defeat for the new Portland Timbers manager. Interestingly, as you may know, I'm a Swansea fan, and interesting enough, Giovanni Cervese was an ex-Venezuelan international footballer who actually graced the old Fetch Field in a Swansea City shirt for Swansea in 2000 to 2001 when Swansea were in League One. And he was on loan from the San Jose Earthquakes. He ended up scoring 13 goals in 35 in all competitions. Now that is a fact that you should save for a party, definitely. Elsewhere, there was a battle of the American legendary keepers as Colorado Rapids, with Tim Howard in goal, lost away to New York Revolution, who are managed by Brad Fiedel, 2-1. And lastly, arguably the most entertaining match of week 2 was Chicago's first game of the season away against Sporting Kansas City, a game with 2 comebacks. Sporting Kansas were 2-0 up in the game, with 1 goal coming from the ex-Derby striker Johnny Russell, who is now, of course, plying his trade in the MLS. But Chicago clawed the game back to 2-2 and eventually got it to 2-3 with an assist for one of the goals from Bastian Schweinsteiger. However, that was not all. A minute after Chicago took the lead, Jimmy Miranda brought it back to 3-3. And that was not all. I know I've said not all twice now, but Sporting Kansas got another goal in the 86th minute, which was a winner from Felipe Gutierrez to make the game end 4-3 to Sporting Kansas City. It was a round with many goals, with 38 goals in 9 games played. A very entertaining week in the MLS. Week 3 of MLS saw more high-scoring games as Atlanta beat Vancouver 4-1 at home after a penalty was awarded through VAR to Atlanta, which saw the Vancouver defender Watson sent off and the eventual hat-trick player Joseph Martinez getting his first goal of the game from the penalty spot. Dallas also got a high-scoring victory against the Seattle Sounders, a game in which another ex-Swansea player in Roland Lamar was playing in the MLS. he ended up getting 2 goals in Dallas's 3-0 victory over the Sounders. Oh, Roland, he was with us for 2 seasons at Swansea, and one of his only goals in the Prem was given wrongly offside against West Brom. I'm not resentful, but it's actually just great to see him doing well in the MLS, and I wish him all the best in the future. It was also a game in which Clint Dempsey disgraced himself by kneeing one of the Dallas players in the crotch, and then subsequently he was sent off for it. It's something that you don't really ever want to see, and he actually gave the referee a sarcastic clap, which has meant that he's gone down a bit in my estimates, but you can still not deny he's a great talent. Elsewhere, Week 3 brought the 4-0 derby, in which Remy Gard's Montreal managed to secure a 1-0 victory over Toronto. Also, Minnesota got their first ever back-to-back victories in their history, beating Chicago Fire. And lastly, Week 3 also brought us the first 0-0 of the MLS season, with Philadelphia Union drawing 0-0 against Columbus Crew. And our final week is Week 4. Due to international friendlies taking place, only 6 fixtures were played in Week 4. In Week 4, Colorado let a 2-0 lead slip to Kansas in their first home game of the season. It could have been worse in the end for Colorado, but Tim Howard was brilliant throughout the game and meant that the game ended 2-2. Felipe Gutierrez was one of the goal scorers for Kansas City, and he has now scored 4 goals in 4 games for Sporting Kansas City. The equalising goal for Kansas was actually a joy to behold, as Kerry Shelton's backheel assisted Diego Rubio in the 90-plus minutes to get an equaliser for Kansas City. The other big match in Week 4 was Dallas against Portland, which was a game that ended 1-1, with Roland Lamar getting on the score sheet again for Dallas. He has had a scintillating start to his Dallas career, getting 3 goals already. Also, it was a game in which Lawrence Olin was sent off after a second yellow card, and he was sent off for doing a Maradona. Basically, he tried to punch the ball into the goal, and he ended up getting sent off, and rightly so. Not very good to see. All of the results have meant that in the Western Conference, Sporting Kansas City and the Whitecaps lead the table with 7 points. LAFC remain the only side with a 100% record in the whole of the MLS. That is a 100% winning record. They have only played 2 games, whilst the Sounders prop up the Western Conference with still no points. Meanwhile, in the Eastern Conference, Columbus Crew and New York City lead the table on 10 points, and both Toronto and Chicago are pointless at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. As for the top goal scorers, so far we have Joseph Martinez and Felipe Gutierrez, both on 4 goals each. That's the roundup all done. So, if you haven't heard, which I'll be very surprised if you didn't know all here, the Zlatan Ibrahimović, not the Zlatan Ibrahimović, but Zlatan Ibrahimović, although he probably wants a title, doesn't he? He has made the move to the MLS and joined LA Galaxy. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the MLS, and I personally don't think he has passed it, as especially in his interview, he still looked ambitious as ever, honest and determined to succeed. He was even so confident that he said in an interview, LA Galaxy, welcome to Zlatan. And of course, you would think it'd be the other way round, but he is oozing with confidence still that he is now kind of saying Zlatan is bigger almost than LA Galaxy. I mean, I don't know if that's the right attitude to have, but it's certainly a confident one. And of course, he has won trophies wherever he has gone, from the Europa League at Manchester United to the Serie A at Inter Milan. He's also scored wherever he has gone, with 421 goals in 730 appearances for the club appearances. And that's not a bad record, is it? So I want to know your opinions on whether he can continue his winning ways at LA Galaxy. Can he turn the tide for an LA Galaxy side who had a terrible time last season? And is he still of the quality to make a difference at LA Galaxy? You can email us via the commentarybox.contact@gmail.com or tweet us at boxcommentary. Please do get in contact. It'd be lovely to hear your opinions on the matter because, of course, Zlatan is full of talent, full of experience, and full of confidence, and it'd be good to see how you think he will do in the MLS for LA Galaxy. Of course, his potential first match for LA Galaxy will be in what could be one of the biggest matches of the season in the MLS, as LA Galaxy take on LAFC in the very first LA derby of its kind. Of course, Chivas USA are no longer in existence, so LAFC take up the chance to challenge LA Galaxy to rule LA. The derby has already been coined as El Traffico, I assume after the horrendous traffic in the area. I'll be certainly watching the game as the newcomers LAFC under Bob Bradley duel their first LA City derby against the newly strengthened old guard of the MLS in LA Galaxy. LAFC come into the match with a 100% win record out of 2 games, whilst LA Galaxy have drawn 1, lost 1, and won 1 of their first 3 games. It's a game that will see the likes of the Santos brothers, Carlos Vela, Diego Rossi, and of course Zlatan potentially take the field. If you haven't watched an MLS game before, or you're choosing a game to watch over the weekend, this is the one to watch. It's on Saturday, 8 PM GMT. I'm very much looking forward to watching it. That almost wraps up everything in this podcast, but before I say goodbye and good night, I would like to end with a question. That question is, which 3 MLS clubs are located on the road Route 66? Of course, thank you for listening. If you would like to get in contact, you can tweet us via @boxcommentary or email us at thecommentary.box.contact@gmail.com with the subject line TCB MLS. Enjoy your evening, good night, and peace out.